Morning guys, I'm Dave Canterbury with the Pathfinder School, and what I'd like to do this morning is I'd like to answer a very common question about traditional archery. A lot of guys ask me on some of my pages on Facebook and places like that, Dave, what type of arrows do I need to shoot from my traditional style longbow or recurve? And the patented answer to that is that you should shoot arrows with feathered fletchings. In other words, the fletchings on that arrow should be made from actual feathers, because a traditional bow has a solid rest and your arrow sits in the corner of that rest, and if you have plastic vanes that cannot compress as it passes by that arrow shelf, it will deflect the back of your arrow, causing accuracy problems. The simple fix to that is to put an elevated rest on your traditional bow, and you can then shoot any arrow from that bow without suffering those accuracy problems. An elevated arrow rest like a weather rest by Bear Archery is less than $10, and that enables me to take this bow and shoot any arrow I want to shoot from Walmart, Kmart, Dick's, Gander Mountain. Doesn't matter where I buy those carbon arrows with the colorful plastic fletchings on them. They will all shoot from this bow now, and I will not suffer accuracy problems that I would have had if I had not put the elevated rest on. So let's look at this up close for a minute and talk about that so that you better understand it. Okay, let's look at this bow, and I'm going to turn it around left-handed. But it doesn't matter whether you're on the left side or the right side of the bow, and most of these older bows like this were made ambidextrous, these fiberglass ones, so you could shoot them left or right-handed, because they used them a lot in schools and scouts and things like that for training, and they never know which kid was going to be left-handed, which kid was going to be right-handed. So we're just going to use the left-hand side of this shelf for the example, because I have the rest, the elevated rest, on the right-hand side. And when I say right-hand side, I'm talking about right-hand shooting side, not right-hand side of the bow. Now, if I take an arrow that has a plastic vane on it instead of an actual feather, it does not compress like a feather would when you run your hand across it. And what that does is it causes a deflection to happen. When you shoot this arrow from the bow and it passes by the rest, even if you have the cock feather out, which is the colored feather, you still have deflection of two of these vanes, because they will not compress. They're going to deflect the back of that arrow because they can't compress like a real feather. So the way you fix that is by using an elevated rest like this Bear weather rest. And what that does is it allows you to put that on your bow, and you can put this on any bow because it's just a stick-on device. I've trimmed this one down a little bit for the width of this riser, because it was a little wider than the riser was, so I just trimmed it down with a pair of scissors. Not going to hurt anything. The only part of it I need is this elevation portion. Now when I put my arrow in the bow to shoot it, it sits on that elevated rest. And now I have space between here and the arrow, so that those vanes no longer matter. I've taken those vanes out of the equation, and now I can shoot these plastic vaned compound bow style arrows from my traditional bow. And these weather rests cost less than $10. I usually carry an extra one in my archery box just to make sure I have it if I need it. And I'll show you the type of box that I carry in a minute for when I'm using carbon and aluminum type arrows with my traditional bows. So here's the bottom line, guys. Get yourself set up with your bow to shoot the type of arrows that you can get readily or have access to. If you need to shoot plastic vanes to practice archery, then get yourself an elevated rest. That will give you the best chance at accuracy over time if you're a beginner. If you can afford to buy feathered fletchings and you want to stay absolutely traditional and shoot wood arrows with feathered fletchings, you don't need the elevated rest. But if you're going to shoot plastic vanes, you're going to have to get yourself an elevated rest for your longbow or your recurve to get that arrow up off the bottom shelf and away from the side of the riser so that you don't have deflection with those plastic vanes. I appreciate your views today. I appreciate your support. I thank you for everything you do for our school, for our family, and for our business, for all of our sponsors, instructors, affiliates, and friends. And I'll be back with another video as soon as I can. Thanks, guys.